and say welcome everybody to our meeting today, April the 17th, and really looking forward to this. I'm Mike Wozniak, professional theatre photographer based in the UK. You all know that. Very pleased to be acting as your host today. Sheeta is here acting as moderator, as always. Was there anything that you'd like to say, Sheeta, before we rustle on? Oh, Sheeta, I think you might be muted.
Who muted me? No, just welcome everyone and thank you for being here.
Thank you. And Eckhart, was there anything that you would like to say before we start the meeting?
Yes, and in fact I do. And it's an issue that was brought up recently by, in fact, again at our meeting last week. And that's a question, how do we deal with people who are not members of our organization? Are they allowed to join our meetings? And that's, I think, a very good question. And let me go back a few years when we only had physical meetings at the library in Naples. At that time, obviously, we always welcomed new members, but we also welcomed guests. And we would ask at the beginning of the meeting that people who were not members, who just came for the first time, that they would introduce themselves. And we would also like to learn a little bit more about them, why they were there, what are their specific interests, and so forth. Now, then we changed a few years ago with the pandemic, and we decided to operate through virtual meetings. So physical meetings no longer take place, and yet obviously we would welcome to have interested people join our meetings and become members. I looked up our bylaws and see whether they say anything about the situation, and our bylaws are silent. They don't mention anything. They just talk about members and how many times we should meet and annual meetings and so forth. So I feel it's an interesting subject, and we have a board meeting in a couple of weeks, and I believe we should put that on the agenda and talk it within our board. Should we not decide on a new policy now that we have nothing but virtual meetings? How do we handle people who are not yet members and would like to participate in the meeting and so forth? So I'm glad that that question came up. I'm sure we'll find a good answer. And we will, in a couple of weeks, we have this board meeting, and then we will make a statement probably on our website and inform all our members what this new policy will be. Thank you.
Very much. Moving swiftly on, my weekly reminder, please excuse me, but everything that exists attached to the Naples Mug group can be found on Dan's fabulous website. And also that, just a little reminder that, thank you, George, once again, there's a special place now for questions relating to today's meeting. So I've started a thread this morning, and it's sitting there with nothing in it at the moment, but it's just called FindMy and AirTags. So if you have any questions or comments that you'd like to make after today's meeting, please find that thread on the message board and use it. It was just a lovely idea just to keep everything in place together so that everything was easy to find. Just one announcement, I think, before we move on, and that is that free beginners sessions are not only coming soon, we now have dates for you, and that's Saturday, June the 15th and Saturday, June the 22nd. At the moment, and this may be subject to change, but at the moment we anticipate these being 2-hour classes. There will definitely be free handouts available to everybody who comes along. So if you know anybody at the moment that isn't a member, and who is very inexperienced, there could be no better time for them to join. So please do advertise this fact to them and get them to sign up. So that's, yeah, June the 15th and June the 22nd. And I've no doubt that more information will follow. But what I can tell you is that the meeting will be led by Dan, who is, of course, an incredibly experienced speaker. So look forward to those very much indeed. Next week, Dale Stefan, great member, busy member, is with us, and Dan will be talking about shortcuts. And so that's same time, same place, and that just leaves me to introduce David, and a very warm welcome back as speaker to you. And I will stop my share and hand the floor to you. Thank you very much. All yours, David. Oh, you're muted.
I moved my Zoom window over and on top of something else, so everything should be good now. Okay. So welcome everyone. Very glad to be presenting again on a fun topic for me. I've had all kinds of fun with these AirTags, and I'm going to cover 3 areas today. The first is, of course, the AirTag itself. And then alongside the AirTag, I'm going to show you FindMy, the FindMy app, because they go hand in hand, right? So AirTag is the tracking device and FindMy is the app that tracks the tracking device. Then we'll finish up, of course, with my favorite section and yours, tips and tricks and some really, really cool uses for the AirTag.
Okay.
So,
David,
yes.
check your microphone. I don't think you're on the microphone you want to be on.
Oh, well, that's not good. Hold on. Thank you for that. Okay. Oh,
You are quite right. I should be on this microphone.
Yes, there you go.
Okay. I don't know why that seems to be, I'll have to talk to Dan about that later. The Ecamm Live virtual mic doesn't seem to want to behave right with my radio voice mic. Okay.
Okay.
All right then. Off we go. So first, going to start with AirTags. What is this thing we call AirTags? So here it is. Little disc about the size of a quarter. It runs on a standard watch battery, which is a CR2032 for those playing at home. And the first thing I will tell you is when you buy these batteries, the watch batteries, a lot of times you'll notice on the case it has either a picture of a kid with a sourpuss or something like that. There's a bitter coating that's put on a lot of the CR2032 batteries, and specifically so that babies, infants, little kids won't lick them and enjoy them, right? They want to have them lick them and say, ew, I'm never going to do that again. The problem is that that bitter coating, if you have a watch battery that has that bitter coating, it will not function in the AirTag. So not to worry, if you've gone to Costco and you bought 75 pack of these watch batteries, you just need to rub a little rubbing alcohol on it, and voila, bitter coating is gone and it's not an issue. But so I will caution you when you're buying these CR2032 batteries, try to buy the ones that do not have the bitter coating. And you can get them, Amazon and all kinds of different places where you would get batteries. You can buy the AirTag itself on Apple's store or Amazon. You need a few things to get it going. You need an iOS or iPadOS device running at least version 14.5. That's when they started with the AirTag capability. You also need to turn on two-factor authentication, Bluetooth, location services, and of course, you'll need the FindMy app. And don't worry about memorizing all these. I'm going to be handing out an FAQ at the end to Sheeta, and she'll distribute it out with all this information. The range on them is about 33 feet or 10 meters for our Canadian friends. Same as any other Bluetooth device. They are water resistant, but they're not waterproof. So don't put one in your swim trunks or in the pocket of anything you're going into the water with. If you drop it into a little puddle of water, pick it up, it's not a problem. It'll work, right? But they are not waterproof. Therefore, Apple devices only. That said, there's an Android app called Tracker Detect that allows you to receive unknown AirTag alerts. Basically, the app looks for FindMy compatible trackers like the AirTag within Bluetooth range that are not with their owners. And I'll talk more about that unknown AirTag alert in a bit. So an AirTag that's registered to you, to your iCloud account, cannot be stolen and used by someone else. And that's because in order to factory reset an AirTag, you need the consent of the person whose Apple ID is tied to the AirTag. Without that consent, all you can technically do is remove the AirTag's battery. And oh, by the way, to do that, you just put your thumbs on the front, give it a little twist, and this silver cap will pop off, and you can just put the battery in there, press back on, and give it a twist, and you're good to go. So without that consent, all you can do is remove, if someone had your AirTag, all they could do is remove the battery. If they do that, at that point, the owner of the AirTag, if that's you, will be able to see the last known location of it. So there's really not a lot of point to stealing an AirTag. That makes sense. All right. Okay, so let's talk about how this thing works. So AirTag basically sends out a Bluetooth signal, and that Bluetooth signal can be detected by nearby devices that are on Apple's FindMy network. That means any iPhone, iPad that's registered by its owner to iCloud. So it's basically like an enormous neighborhood watch. So if you were at an airport, for example, that's probably 90% or more of the passengers walking all around you. The devices that receive the signal from the AirTag then send the location to iCloud. So everybody's pretty much doing this as a neighborhood watch for each other. And then you can use the Find My app to see the AirTag on a map. Pretty cool, right? So it's a giant neighborhood watch of all the Apple heads out there all helping each other. It sends that